Hello. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this special presentation of Mavi and Rogue. We have here Fiona, my beloved, who's going to be talking about her game. And we will get to show off a little bit of gameplay tonight. This will be the first time that gameplay has been shown in public. So I'm really excited to share this with everyone. And she'll be showing off a bunch of things. If you have any questions, ask in the chat. The mods will be taking down questions, and we will get to answering all of your questions by the end of the chat. So yeah, so glad to have everybody here at this special early time. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Thanatos, congrats on being first. Cloud Ice, congrats on being second. Golden Flame, congrats on being third. And welcome in Sakura, and welcome in Thanatos. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in Mac. Once in a lifetime to see you before by now. I know. And Cloud Eye says it's nice to see you too. But we got a raid from Thanatos. So let's get the raid dragon first of all, although we will be focusing on her for most of the time. So let's do a raid dragon real quick. Here he comes. Rawr, rawr, rawr. Whoosh. Alright, so abbreviated hellos to everybody. We normally do gaming here, retro gaming, modern gaming sometimes, arts and crafts. We play Scrabble, we're listening to MIDI files, and a few other things. But we're going to have the music off for the most of the stream this time around. And Mr. Bonfunk says, hi, Crane and Fiona. Sorceress is like, what is this nonsense?
I'll admit I'm sort of new to this, so seeing like things floating over the screen is kind of interesting for me.
Welcome in, Steve. Good to have you. And hey, Mr. Someone. All right, so would you like to go ahead and get started?
Sure. So thanks for the introduction. So I'm just going to move in over here a little bit. So hopefully everyone can hear me. So hi, I'm Fiona. So I'm the creator of Mavi and Rogue. We still have about a week left on our Kickstarter, but we managed to get our funding, so thanks to anyone who happened to participate. We're very grateful for everything everyone has done to help support us. So one of the things that I just kind of wanted to start off with was just to kind of give sort of a rough overview for people who maybe aren't as familiar with like roguelikes or how games like Hack or NetHack work. And I want to be clear that the game is not just roguelike, or is not just Rogue, for example, even though the core gameplay and a lot of what I'm going to be showing you today is going to be very focused on sort of like specific like rogue items. Sorry.
Just waving to Valiant Cheese who just came in.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm just not used to this
Yeah,
format
Twitch is really weird. It's not quite the same as a Zoom call.
I'm used to doing talks and stuff, but this format is definitely new for me.
It's kind of more interactive, I think, than just presenting to a crowd. But go on.
But yeah, so anyways, just as a brief kind of thing, one of the things we had talked about was actually we're thinking of sort of, instead of calling it like a procedural roguelike, which we realized was a little repetitive, we're going to be changing that actually to like narrative-driven roguelike, because there actually is going to be a story, or at least a framework for a story that kind of sets up as to why you need to explore all these different worlds. And the idea behind the game is that even though it's a roguelike, the idea is that you're basically be able to explore like almost any kind of environment. So like you want to explore forests, like dungeon, like more traditional dungeon crawler, or if you want to go to Mars or anything like that. I have this construct of this idea of a museum where you can like actually get artifacts from for example, like the Amulet of Yendor would be like an artifact. Or an amulet of some kind, that would represent sort of that world. And so like if you win that world, then you get its artifact or totem, kind of similar to like the Amulet of Yendor, and you bring it back to the museum, and then this unlocks like the next level. So there'd be sort of like a number of different worlds that you'd be able to explore that sort of would have different themes associated with each of the different worlds, and would have its own sort of encapsulated story. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what I'm really hoping to accomplish with this is so that people can see themselves like however they want to see themselves, however they want to represent themselves in the game. And if they want to bring a companion or their favorite animal, pet, whatever, or their friend or something like that, the idea is that it's accommodating for that. And and I mean, this is pretty well trod territory in the sort of hack and net hack space, which have pets and have had those for a while. But I'd like to build on that a little bit more. So one of the things that I think she had talked about was being able to pet and care for your pets. So like you can do things like feed them and you know, train animals and other things and stuff. So I'm hoping to kind of build on this kind of like, you know, companion process as you explore this dungeon. But at the end of the day, you know, it's still a roguelike. So for people who aren't familiar with roguelikes, essentially they're almost always procedural. So which means that the computer is basically generating new levels for you. Not all levels ultimately will be like this. In the future, you know, I'm actually in the process of working on a level editor. There are going to be a couple of sort of fixed levels that will, you know, sort of act as a kind of framework for holding it all together. So eventually there will be an editor, and I do plan on releasing these tools to the public. So like, for example, if you want to make your own adventures, or if you want to have like a mix of levels that you've custom made, or, you know, procedural levels, the idea is that eventually you'd be able to make your own. But outside of that, I still want to present like a story, and I still want to, you know, have some value, you know, added beyond just, you know, what, you know, people can create themselves. But at the end of the day, it's a dungeon. You're trying to defeat the wizard, get the amulet, bring it back. I mean, it's pretty well-trod territory in RPG spaces. But I'm hoping that that the story that I'm developing right now will make it a little bit more than just, you know, you're just going and, you know, kind of diving through this dungeon. So to that end, one of the things that I'll be adding also is, I'm sure for those that have read the Kickstarter, is there's going to be a number of different NPCs and characters you can interact with. And the idea is like with the procedural generation aspect, is that these characters would be sort of other fellow adventurers. Some of them might join you, some of them might not, but you'd be able to interact with them, and they would have their own perspectives. And the idea is as you encounter and do these run-throughs, you'll encounter more and different varied type information that you might find like in like, you know, the form of like journal letters that you discover as you're exploring the dungeon, or the people that you might encounter, you know, people that you might want to hire. I plan on having things like merchants. So a lot of the things that you would expect, you know, in an RPG, I want to provide, but with this procedural framework, so that you can, you know, kind of add some more replayability value. So basically, that's just a sort of at a high level kind of what it is. So it's like a very traditional RPG, but the idea is that you do runs. So unlike with a traditional RPG where you save and, you know, you're constantly, you know, progressing, and, you know, if you die, you go back and you just kind of keep going where you're left off. In roguelikes traditionally, although I do give you the option, permadeath is usually the thing that people, you know, usually encounter with these kinds of games, and that usually means that you're going to die very often.
I hate it when that happens.
But, you know, but the idea is that you just, you know, you just create another character, or, you know, or in the case of my game, you can either choose to have permadeath or not. The only thing is that it's set so that when you first start the game, you have that choice, then you're stuck with it. So if you select permadeath at the beginning, basically you're stuck with it through, you know, the rest of your adventure, because that's just, you know, how kind of that works, and being able to turn that on and off would kind of negate the idea of permadeath. But I do give you the option to do a run without permadeath if you want to have a more traditional save and load kind of experience. So I kind of wanted to tailor it, you know, for a lot of different types of people, and so that people could see themselves in it. And also, like, if you struggle with, you know, like getting through a really hard roguelike, I do have a difficulty slider to make it easier for you as well. So I'm trying to make this as sort of friendly and open to people as possible. I know roguelikes can sometimes be a little bit impenetrable, I think. You know, for some people, especially because it tends to be more like hardcore gamers that tend to appreciate that. You know, those kinds of games where you expect to die a lot. But I do want to have some form of meta progression, but probably not the focus of it. But, you know, I want to appeal to the roguelike fans in the past, and I also want to appeal to people who maybe are new to roguelikes and need something that's a little bit more of a structured experience. That isn't just the hardcore dungeon delver kind of, you know, thing that like Hack or NetHack is.
So Cloud Eyes says here, I'm really loving the amount of options you have to make your character. Thanks for doing so much care for those options.
Yeah, and my hope is that we'll keep building on that. So I want to make it like as many character options as you can. And actually, to that effect, I'm probably just, if everyone's okay with it, I'm just going to start the demo now, and then you can kind of see, kind of like, and I'll talk through kind of like what's there right now, and then kind of like what some of my ideas are that I plan on building on.
Let's see. Hellgraph asks, adaptable to any given player accommodation. And I think that means like the accessibility options that you're building in.
Yeah, so I have some accessibility options. Well, not really accessibility options. Right now I'm mostly focusing on things like color contrast ratio, and things like making sure the fonts aren't too big or too small, and that they scale appropriately for like mobile devices versus large TVs and stuff. Eventually, I do want to support screen readers. So actually, in my past life in IT and tech, I've actually done a number of, a lot of the jobs that I've had have been cycled around or centered around accessibility. Even on my last project working for Bloomberg, working for the museum app that I did, we were focusing, like, a lot of my core responsibilities was actually on accessibility. So my even though I don't have, like screen reader support built in right now, it's something that I'm investigating. So I have looked into some technologies for doing this, but they're only kind of in a POC state right now. But I do plan on trying to incorporate as many accessible features as I can in the game as possible.
Let's see. Yeah, so Valiant Cheese. I mean, I guess we'll get to questions as we see them. If
That's fine. I mean, it seems like Twitch is more of an interactive kind of Socratic really kind of thing. Yeah. So I guess if people just want to ask questions, that's fine. And then maybe we can just take another question or two, and then I'll get to the demo, and then you guys can take a look, and then if you have any questions when we go along, you can just...
So I wanted to welcome Ali Amoop and Gabriel Night Shadow to the channel. They've never chatted before, so we are honored by you joining us for this special presentation. Let's see, Valiant Cheese asks, came in late, so ignore me if it's already been discussed, but how long has the game been in development?
Actually, it depends on what you mean by in development. So we actually had a conversation about this because so if you count all of the learning how to use Unity and learning game development and all that stuff, probably like most of my life. But like, if you just want to talk about specifically this game, I started it in August of last year. At least that's when sort of I started getting the seed of an idea.
Like more specifically on this game,
right?
Exactly.
And then, I mean, all told, it's been probably about 7 or 8 months of active development. There was a month or two, like in the beginning of the year, where I was sort of, I was sick and I wasn't doing super great.
So yeah.
I mean, I would say the bulk of the game was probably written in about 6 months, at least for what you'll see right now. And then my hope is that in the next few months, we'll be adding more polish and, we'll be adding some more characters and some other things and stuff that we sort of promised to our backers and stuff that we'll be working on as well.
Gabriel says, I like the idea of the level editor and many option settings for greater flexibility. So people are really loving these options, and I had a feeling that they would. Yeah,
and I'll talk a little bit through the editor. Like, I have some screenshots that I can kind of show off. They're not functional at the moment, unfortunately, but I can at least show you some of the UI that I'm mocking up at the moment, so you can kind of get an idea of what direction I'm going in with the editor. Because I do want to try to keep it as balanced as possible, so like you can have like a mix of procedural elements, like for example if you want to define a room that can be procedurally generated versus you want the whole level procedurally generated, or if you just want like a completely crafted custom level, like I'm hoping to accommodate you.
You tell your own stories and those set pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And like even like intro pieces and stuff like that for the levels and the worlds and stuff like that. Like it's going to be kind of Mad Libby, where you can like fill in a summary or an intro, and then you could start making your own adventures. And the idea eventually is that you'd be able to share this with your friends and build other worlds and stuff. And the idea is ultimately there would be like possibly a co-op mode. Where you could adventure with your friends or other things and stuff. So there's a lot of things that like I'm hoping to get to and develop. Obviously we won't be able to get to all of them in a short amount of time, but I'm trying to build out what we can.
Russian Valkyrie asks the most important question of all, and I think this is on everybody's minds. This is, the most important aspect of any game. Can you pet the cat?
Yes, you'll be able to pet the cat. No, I will not be able to demo that for this.
We could probably get the real cat and show petting her just as an example of, the kind of cat petting.
But, I figure it would probably be something that you can like, move the mouse around, and it might do a custom animation or something like that. So
yeah,
it would nothing, but it might might increase an affection meter or something like that.
I would love that.
Well, I was thinking of actually having that because like as you feed them, maybe the affection goes up, but over time, their affection kind of starts to wane. You have to keep reminding them, so you got to pet them, you got to give them treats.
That's kind of like a real cat,
right? Yeah,
but that's exactly what happens in Hack too. 1983, that you fed the dog more, the dog liked you better and was more likely to pick up stuff for you, and bring it over to you. And rob shops for you if you trained it right. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then of course if it's a human, maybe food doesn't work as training, but
you
money would work.
Food in a human's face.
No, but I don't think the food will work. But but I think you throw money at people, maybe it'll work.
If you throw money at their face, they might not like it so much. But
I don't know. I think we should try it. Just start from no, no I'm just kidding. But yeah. Okay. So are we okay with questions?
Yeah.
now,
There's one more question
Okay,
right
okay, yeah,
now.
let's do it.
Russian Valkyrie asks, what controls does a game use? Is it keyboard and controller?
So right now, and I'll kind of show it a little bit. I don't really have the controller set up, but
Yeah, we didn't try that on this computer.
Well, I mean, no, I know it'll work. It's an Xbox controller and it's Microsoft.
Yeah.
So right now, just out of the box, it supports touch displays, so like iOS and Android. It supports keyboard input and mouse, and also game controller. So at least Xbox. Mostly because Xbox controllers are used like across a lot of different platforms. Like I have a Mac and I use an Xbox controller for gaming. So, and part of the other reason also for supporting Xbox controllers is that they're one of the few that actually have like accessible paddles and some other things and stuff like that that are compatible with Xbox. So I wanted to make sure that out of the box it was supported for that. So, ultimately, eventually, we would like to support, other platforms like Switch and, PlayStation and stuff. And I mean, I could support those controllers. The problem is more just a finance situation because Unity requires a $2,000 a year subscription to support.
Stretch goals, people. Stretch goals.
But
Stretch
yeah.
goals.
But unfortunately, it's a little pricey. So typically speaking, it's hard to justify. Until you have regular income, because the problem is as soon as you go down that path, if you want to do an update, now I have to keep paying that subscription cost, and it's kind of expensive, and like I'd have to guarantee that there's revenue coming in. But eventually I would like to go in that direction, and who knows, like, I mean, if sales are pretty steady, like over the holidays or like earlier into next year when we do a full release, maybe it'll be a foregone conclusion. We'll have enough money, and it won't be that big of an issue, and I'll go ahead and support other platforms as well. But initially for release, those are the three controls that we're supporting.
Okay. Do you want to show off the game?
Yeah. So
all right. This will be the first public presentation of Mavi and Rogue gameplay. So yeah, I'll get it set up here. So let's switch to this, and it should pop up there in a moment. And you should be able to play. Let me move the chat so I can see it. Hey, Apple, welcome. Okay, and then mods are on the lookout, so if you have any questions, pop them in the chat, and then mods will compile them, and we will address all the rest of the questions after this presentation. Okay, so do you need the keyboard, or?
Yeah, I'll probably need the keyboard, but you can just leave it on here.
Okay.
And then
whatever's comfortable for you.
Yeah, I might just move the mouse over a little bit.
Yeah.
Just so it's a little bit easier for me to get to. Okay. So I guess I interact with this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my frame cuts off the edges a little bit. Hopefully that won't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, I think it's more just it's gonna be a little tiny for me to read, but I think it'll be okay.
Okay, so Apple just got here. It says, "Can I please have an introduction?" So this is my wife Fiona. She is the real mastermind behind Mavi and Rogue. She created the entire game pretty much from scratch, and she's a very talented programmer and an artist and a musician and so many other things. So I could go on. Oh, Cloudos, you can't compile questions. Okay, I think Hellgraph's got it. Yeah. All right, I think we're covered. Okay. So.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so just really quick, I just kind of want to show some of the settings so you can kind of see, like, so you can set, like, monitor resolution like you would expect, like, different frequencies. You can set, like, television filter or minimap. I won't be able to demo the minimap, but it's only because of a refactor I did recently for performance that broke it, so I won't be able to show it off. But
it's all work in progress.
And I mean, it'll take me like 5 seconds to get it working again. But just saying that there's still some known issues that I'm working through. But this is a television filter, so if you want to see like scan lines, you can turn it off. It's toggleable.
Do you want me to put on the music, or does it really matter?
Oh no, I think it's
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
No, the music isn't finished yet, but it'll be nice.
Right, but just so you can tell, so like this is a control scheme. So if you notice, like, it's for Xbox mouse and keyboard controls. It doesn't really show the touch controls, but like with iOS, it's pretty intuitive. You just tap the buttons. Just to kind of go through some of the other settings here. This is the credits. So this is a section for those that are backers for us. So like if you are a backer at a certain level and you have your name in the credits, that's where it would appear.
The more you back, the bigger your name will be.
Okay, so sorry, what? Okay. Oh. Okay. So in any case, though, so this is a leaderboard. Right now, it just has like a top 10. My goal is ultimately to make this clear so that whoever the first is to get any points, you would be on a list, and then the list would just be sort of forever. And whatever your rank is whatever your rank is. For now, it's just local, but we've kind of toyed with the idea of doing like an international leaderboard or something like more for like competitive speedrunners. But I think for this. For now, this is kind of what we have, and if it's just some kind of silly name play here.
No, there.
Sorry, what?
You're clicking on OBS.
Oh, whoops.
I know it happens.
Also, it's a little delayed. Is that what?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that what they're seeing now?
Yeah, it's gonna get to them a second later.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry for any questions I might have.
Yeah, I think this display is even more delayed. Don't ignore this. Ignore that.
I know. I'm ignoring. Okay.
Hey, space.
Okay,
here comes a cat.
Okay. So anyways, so I'm just going to kind of go into just a quick game so you can kind of see it.
Oh, show them the names.
The name? Oh, this part? Yeah, let's watch it.
Hey, Cat and Candy, thank you for the follow.
Some of the placements have arcs next to them.
Oh, on the top 10 list.
Yeah, I can answer that really quick. Oh, snack credits. Yeah, so the reason for this is just because if you get the Amulet of Yendor...
you're like one with the amulet.
Yeah, it's just showing you that you got the totem or something for that world.
Yeah.
It's probably going to change a little bit because there's going to be multiple worlds, so the leaderboard is probably going to modify. This was back when I only had like the one world, which was like Rogue. So eventually this will probably change and there will be like tabs for other worlds or some other things. I haven't really worked out all of the details yet. Just letting you know that these are the things I'm kind of considering. So this is a start game for now. This screen will probably change the most because in the game, the way I'm envisioning it is eventually there will be a story where you'll see like an animation. I'm still working on it though. That will kind of explain and kind of set up what the game is, and then you would end up, through this character creator in kind of a slightly different way. But this kind of gives you sort of just kind of an idea of what you can do with it. But just be aware that some of the stuff might change a little over time. So one of the things I just wanted to point out, so there's this little dice here, so you can change your name. Probably just a small point of interest, but this is actually trained on 25 different languages. I pulled from a number of different name databases and trained a Markov model with some amount of random distribution tuning to ensure that the different names sound plausible. Like if you notice, like
Darkila.
Yeah, Darkila. It's like it sounds like it could be a plausible name, but but a lot of these names are not like names you would encounter in real life, and that's kind of intentional. It's like one of these names that it kind of generates to sound plausible but be sort of fantasy-ish. And I found that like mixing all the different like names and putting it into a generator that then sort of spits out names actually came up with a good balance of name types. So this is kind of what I'm doing here for this.
It's pretty cool. Go through a few more because that's really fun. I would spend like an hour at this. And Space Skeleton says Darkila is metal AF. Neroy. I mean,
Amar.
Yeah, Michelle. That's
some. I mean, occasionally
Sonny.
It will occasionally create names that you've seen
like
before.
Mundane names.
Yeah, but what's interesting is sometimes it'll come up with names that are not in its name database that are actually like names you would think of as normal names. So it can actually generate like real names also.
Yeah.
It's just that generally speaking, it tends to generate more fantasy.
Yeah, like sometimes it'll come up with like Fred, but
wait, zombie Darkila, yeah.
Yeah, Darkila sounds like a real name. Shawnee.
So in any case, I'm just gonna
over here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I keep clicking the wrong. Okay, so I'm just gonna create a new character so you can kind of see like some of the additions. So I know it wasn't in the screenshot that's in the Kickstarter, but it is now in this, so you can actually specify like different kinds of.
I will pause you right there. We have an ad break running, so for those who are not subbed, they're currently watching ads. So I'm gonna do this because there's an ad break every 30 minutes. So I would just
Should we keep talking, or?
I would just say sit tight so nobody misses anything. I mean, technically, those. I mean, some people can hear us. The people who are currently subscribed can hear us and see us right now. But people who are not have to sit through an ad. But yeah, I try, in my general streams, I try to pause the action or pause the cutscene or whatever so nobody misses anything really important.
That's a really
oh my gosh,
cranberry.
Co-armed Pretty. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the bit. They just cheered, and I heard the chime that indicated that they gave us money. So.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. Sakura says, "What's an ad? It's like a paladin." Shame you can't run ads for the Kickstarter campaign, says Valiant Cheese. And Highbury is currently on a 3-stream streak. Way to go, Highbury. That just means he was here 3 times in a row.
So how do we know when the ad's done?
It's a pop-up right there. It ends in 17
Oh, 17 seconds.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I give it a few extra seconds because sometimes there's a bit of a delay. But yeah, Valiant Cheese, that would be cool. And Space, some of us don't have ads. I know. I can still see your sub-badge, Space. You're fine. Yeah, you're good. Because Space Skeleton usually uses his Prime subscription, which is very generous. Okay, I think our ad break is over, so sorry for the interruption. Forgot to warn you about that part.
Just one sec.
We get like 3 cents. So, yay, income. Okay.
Yeah, we can pay rent in New York now.
Yes. Okay, so...
Okay,
So you were showing off the character customization facial hair options.
right. So the facial hair section is new. So this was I think I got it into the video, but it wasn't in the screenshot that we had.
It wasn't in the screenshot. You're right.
But you can now specify like like imperial mustache if you want. And each one of these is like individually colorable. So like if you want to change like hair color or something,
Pink
or
hair,
something.
blue mustache, skin color, purple,
blue skin or something.
Yeah.
You can like all of these things are recolorable. Eventually,
or
sorry.
like, yeah, like somebody's gonna want to look like this. I know that. Or we could do that and like ultra manly or little softer look. So yeah, there's so many different options.
I wasn't done, but
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I got excited there, but go on.
So in any case, yeah, she'd mentioned there is this sort of gender slider. Mostly just boils down to just sort of cosmetic stuff. So like underwear changes. The idea though is that any item that you can find in the game that's wearable will be wearable by any whatever. And the gender slider here is really just a visual indicator. But it doesn't really limit you in any particular way. So like you're not limited by clothing types or options. You're not limited by like strength requirements or anything. There's no limitation. This is just more of a visual thing. Same thing with a lot of these. But I wanted people to be able to customize anything. And the idea is eventually I'd be adding things like tails, ears. Other kinds of ways that you can modify your character, because I really want people to be able to see themselves however they want to see themselves.
We are $9 away from that stretch goal. Last I saw.
Yeah, I know.
$9.
I swear it's gonna be like 12,999, and it's just gonna stay there, like right below.
Oh, Thanatos asks, do you plan on adding DLC?
Yes, yeah, very much so. Basically, the idea here is that so long as we keep bringing in revenue, I will keep building out this game, and we'll be continuing to add features, new levels. Like as far as like DLC goes, I might handle it as like an in-app purchase. I actually come from a mobile background, so I'm more used to actually mobile phones. I need to look into like how Steam handles things like DLC, but I do plan on having like add-ons and stuff that you'll be able to add on later. But eventually I would also like for community members to also be able to create their own levels and add their own things. Yeah, eventually. For things like this, this will probably be added by me. I don't know if this will be customizable necessarily, but I plan on adding as many different hairs, facial hair, other body ornamentations that I can, and I'll just keep adding to it as I can. Otherwise, here you can specify things like strength and dexterity. They're just kind of whatever, but that's going to be kind of the majority of it.
Yeah, sorry for jumping ahead there.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
So this is character creator. So
Space Skeleton says, figure out your monetization model. Happily give some money once a month for this, which is going to be phenomenal. Greatly appreciate it.
So one of the things that I was thinking of having actually is a Patreon, which might make things like that a little bit easier. Where I actually plan on starting a developer journal, just so maybe once a week I can post updates on what I've been working on. So people who want to contribute more would be able to get more sort of insight into like kind of where this is going and how the development is going.
Hellgraph Dragon just gave out 5 gift subs. Oh, thank you, Hellgraph Dragon. So Kmart Plays, Free Needles, Hippikimi, Mally258, Nifty Nelly are all getting gift subs to the channel, so they don't have to watch ads. They can use some cool emotes. like the Amber emote that is based on her phenomenal artwork from Avi Rogue. Thank you so much for that, Hillgraph. Anyway, go on.
Okay.
I know the dinosaurs.
Again, I know. It's like I'm still getting used to this format. But...
Yeah, Twitch is weird, and yeah, I heard the alert. So and
Okay.
then see there's your emote. Russian Valkyrie has that trotting Amber emote,
Oh yeah.
and they flop
my God,
across the
it's
screen.
so tiny. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Hey,
yeah. Oh, I see
Dr.
now.
Cook, welcome back.
Okay, so these are the companions. Oh wow, it's gonna be really hard to see.
No,
Oh yeah, I know. I can't. Well, it's like it's so distracting. It's like I see all the stuff. Okay, so anyways, so this is the a limited subset of companions that I have available now. This is not all the companions we'll have. Over time, my idea is that as you tame or train different monsters or whatever, this list would get added to. And additionally, eventually I plan on having like a plus button here where you can actually upload your own image, like your own companion. I saw that on another game. It's like Pathos or something, another roguelike that actually had the ability for you to add like custom art. And I really love that feature like so much. And I wanted to be able to have like custom pets and things like that and be able to customize it yourself. So like if you want to have like your own pet in the game or your best friend, that you just want it as a, I don't know, like a effigy or something with you. You can, the idea is that you'd be able to do that. But similar to the other ones, similar name generator, or you can pick like these. Yeah.
Not to interrupt, but also very important, Russian Valkyrie would like to know if there could be a frog.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, like no, totally. Like I want to add like so much stuff. Like this is really just the beginning. So yeah, so if you want a frog, I can add a frog. I know people have pet frogs.
Totally frog. Did we decide on what the exclusive Kickstarter pet will be? I mean, Amber is featured heavily, but have you decided?
No, I have
Okay.
not decided yet.
It'll just be one pet that's available to Kickstarter backers and not later. It'll be like an unlockable thing, I think.
My assumption is that the unlockable thing or that Kickstarter pet reward will probably be like a Drake or something like that.
Yeah,
like
like
it
any
wouldn't be like a
exotic.
full-on dragon, but just like
Yeah.
a little pet, little pet dragon or something like that if you want to take it with you.
Ivory says, is there a miniature giant space guinea pig?
Not at the moment.
Not out of the question.
But yeah, I mean, but the idea is plan to keep adding it, and ultimately you'd be able to add it yourself. So if you wanted to have a pet that was a giant space guinea pig, you could.
Yeah.
And I'll even show it off. But I do have space snakes, which you can train if you want. And they have cute little helmets, and I'll show you that too.
Telegraph says, I want to tame the wizard, the wonderful wizard of Yendor. We got a few other questions coming up, but I assume that mods are taking care
So
of
funnily
them,
enough, you mentioned that you want to tame the wizard. Right now you can. Because I have no limits on that. Like, if you throw enough food at the wizard, he will be tamed.
if he's just really hungry.
But keep in mind that you have a limited amount of food, and so if you use up all your food taming pets, you might starve to death. So there's always that.
It's going to be a challenge to balance all of these play factors, I think, and that's kind of part of the game.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of what we're thinking of going for this. But yeah, so that's companions. And speaking of companions, we have one right here.
We got a real companion here.
So this is the nemesis. So basically, you'll be able to select your nemesis. So like, for example, I don't know, you just have an issue with astronauts, or I don't like the look of that green dragon or something, or screw that king, or, sorry, mind my language.
Darn that king.
Darn that king. Yeah, we'll stitch him to death or something.
Hey, Cortland.
But in any case, so it's like if you have a specific, like you wanted to hunt the dragon, and the dragon was the big bad or whatever in your game, then you definitely be able to. You'd be able to check it.
Will you be able
here.
to tell the difference between that dragon and like
Yes.
generic bad green dragons?
Yeah, so all of these nemesis characters will basically have sort of like this greenish fire. So you'll be able to differentiate them. They won't look like the other characters, and as they move around, you'll see like this like kind of fire animation following them around. So it'll look like this little tracer. So you'll definitely be able to tell. And also you won't encounter it until level 26. So
Yeah, it's a ways off from the beginning.
So in any case, so that's companions. Yeah, hope to expand it. And can you make your pet your nemesis? I suppose you could if you wanted. Like, I mean, ultimately, I want to make this list a lot larger. Like, these are just some presets I made, but like ultimately, I'm hoping this list will be very long and it'll have like all the monsters.
As Space says, why would you do that? I mean, the idea is to be very customizable.
Well, you wouldn't be able to literally make your pet because your companion is always going to be your companion. I don't think you can make your companion your nemesis. But if you want something that looks like your companion to be your nemesis on level 26, you can totally do that. So if you wanted to fight a Chihuahua that was like demonically possessed, I suppose you could do that if you wanted. But in any case, though, so yes, this is the nemesis selection. And yeah, so you probably wouldn't do this for the main game, like the story-based part of it, but like if you were to create your own level, you would have this option there.
Hyber says the real nemesis is the friends we made along the way.
And this is the difficulty slider. So you can basically select like how difficult you want your roguelike to be, because I know this middle section right now is basically what I would consider like rogue. So whatever difficulty you think rogue or hack or something is, this is what I'm aiming for as the middle ground. However, I do want things to be easier for people who struggle with roguelikes, so like you can turn it all the way down. And in fact, actually, if you turn it all the way down here, there's actually no monsters. It's just a discovery thing. You'll be able to just go through the depths, find items, read diary entries, or just grab the Amulet of Yendor and leave. You won't get maximum points, you won't whatever, but if you just want to play through the game and just see what there is to see, you can do it that way. Otherwise, nightmare mode. So the way that the difficulty slider works on here, and I'm not going to get too much into the statistics of this, but there's essentially a probability distribution that determines where monsters will tend to fall. And what Dystopia does is it essentially flattens the distribution. So instead of expecting a level 5 monster to appear on floor 5, now that monster could appear anywhere. And the same thing goes for dragons and stuff. So if you put it on the hardest level, any monster on any level could form on any level. So you could potentially get a dragon on first level. However, the items are also equally mixed. So the plate mail plus 4 armor that you would normally find later in the dungeon, you might find at the very top. So it's going to be a lot more random, and you will die a lot more, but, for those people that really like a hard challenge and impossible odds, I wanted to give them that option as well. Okay. So this last part is, and this part will probably change a bit too, because it's not going to be a drop down. Eventually there'll be an editor and stuff, which I'll get to in a minute. But for now, you can select from these different options. So these are all levels that I actually support currently. So Rogue is more your traditional Rogue with rooms and corridors. The Office uses a similar map layout, but it uses different tiles to make it look more like an office building, and the monsters are more appropriate for an office building. Same thing with the Moon. There's a maze level, so if you like mazes. And Mars, forest, desert, caves, and canyon. And this is what I currently support. But eventually, like I said, I hope to expand this to be much wider than this. I want to have any kind of setting you can imagine. I want to be able to support it, up to and including things like space. So I had some ideas even for pirate ships, for example, that use they use the same kind of graphic perspective and the same kind of look, but lets you travel as if you're in a spaceship. So and I'll show you kind of in the inventory panel where I'm kind of expecting it might look like, so that you could travel between these worlds. And I wanted to eventually have this infinite mode, which is a survival mode that literally shuffles all of this. So any portal or any floor could go to any other world and vice versa, and it would just be endless. It would just keep generating new random levels, and you could just theoretically keep playing it forever. It would be like Gauntlet, essentially, just would get harder and harder until basically, but there would be no way to win it, because you'd be just going for points at that point. So it would just be your more traditional survival mode. But I definitely wanted to have space travel and stuff. I really loved things what was it? I was there was a gold box game and stuff like that. I can't remember the one with the boats in space. I can't remember.
I don't think I've.
I don't think you played the gold box games, but. Spelljammer, that's what it was. There was, I really loved how you could, even though it's the gold box perspective, but you could still be in space and still fly around and stuff like that. And actually, I've worked on space sims before. Actually, my father actually works on rockets, or did for a living. so the thing is it's like, so I sort of have a passion for this because I kind of grew up around like airplanes and other things and stuff, so I definitely wanted to incorporate like a spaceship mode where you could fly around to different planets and stuff, but it would still be the same view that you would get. Like, it's still the same kind of dungeon crawler 3D view. It's still turn based. It's just that it would be like, you're just in a spaceship instead, and you would just see planets instead of items and other things and stuff. So I feel like the framework for this is very extensible to a lot of different environments and a lot of different stories, and I want to be able to tell lots of different stories with this. So I didn't want the focus to be just on like my life or my ideas and my theories on things, and certainly parts of me will be in it, because I do have ideas for stories myself. But my ultimate goal is eventually, people in the community would be able to tell their own stories as well, and I just want to create sort of the vehicle for them to be able to tell those stories.
So shall we get to actual gameplay?
Yeah. So let's get to the actual gameplay. I'm actually going to turn off permadeath just in case.
You don't want to like die 2 steps in and like, oh, that's it.
Right. So for now, I'm just going to show with the fogger board just so you can kind of see like how it kind of works. But so I'm just going to start this really quick.
Yeah, there's more questions popping up, but we'll get to them later.
Yeah, and don't worry about this text. This is literally just taken from Rogue. But it's placeholder text. So this is the game, so you can actually kind of see it.
Scan lines are currently on.
So scan lines are on, and just so you can kind of see it without scan lines, I'm going to turn it off so you can kind of see it. And now if you see it, it's very clean now. But I just kind of wanted to show, that you can basically play this game. And, like, it's a little slow on yours. Well, it's fine. I just need to increase the speed of this animation.
I mean, it looks if anything, it makes it look more retro. I mean, it's still a work in progress, like no matter what. So but yeah, a kitty named Alexi.
Yeah, so that's the kitty, and I'm just gonna.
It's based on Amber, and I love her artwork so much. It's so adorable.
And so this is the map, and this is basically how most of it functions. But I just wanted to show the map now. So if you look at the map now, it looks a little bit more like, I don't know, probably Ultima 7 or Ultima 6 or something like that. So there's like columns and some things you can see in here. And if one of the things you notice is see how the light changes.
I love that. That is so cool.
And basically the thing is so you can have the map, you can actually move the map around if you want, or you can center it. Otherwise, you can basically just explore like you would like any other Rogue game.
Space Skeleton says the lighting is fantastic.
Thank you.
Dr. Cook says getting Shadow Warrior vibes. Hellgrave says Rogue One, they've gone to plaid. Purple Tentacle agrees the lighting is neat. Space Skeleton says, oh my god, I love it.
And let's see.
Dr. Cook says, can Mrs. Gallara Dragon tell us about the technical aspects, how this is coded and so on? I cannot. I cannot. It's all her. It's all her.
What's the question?
The technical aspects, how it was coded and such.
Oh, sure, yeah. So this was done in Unity. I don't have the editor here because this is actually from a build. But it's all done in Unity. Pretty much everything in this is hand coded by me. I'm not really using a lot of off-the-shelf packages for this. The one big exception is Speed Tree. So like the trees here, obviously I did not do these trees. These are kind of hard to do.
No, drew one leaf at a time.
Yes, one leaf at a time. I did all the work. Animated the wind and everything. No, so these are speed trees. So it took some liberties with it, but almost everything else is mine. So like all these textures are mine. All of the items are mine. The doors, the people, the heraldry, all of it. The torch, the particle effects.
Oh, so. Dr. Cook was referring to you, because, I'm Gallara, you're Mrs. Gallara, because you're married to me.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Dr. Cook, I'm I can't take credit for any of this. This is completely her. But yeah, I see what you mean, Mrs. Gallara, we're both Mrs.'s, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just not sure which one you were
Yeah, Fiona. Yeah, Sorceress.
Yeah, Fiona works too.
Yeah,
I usually just tend to go by, Fiona or Fee or something like that. So this is basically it. I just wanted to show you going down one level just so you can kind of see what it looks like when you actually get into a dungeon. I just need to go find something.
But look at the light on those columns. I just get so much of a kick out of that.
And just one thing I wanted to point out too is right now it's this kind of triangle, but eventually I want to have a little paper doll of your character that'll actually turn and do some other things. I looked at some other roguelikes that do this where it's the other monsters and characters are basically these upright kind of bouncing characters, but then here this one allows for turning and other things and stuff because there needs to be some kind of direction. But I was also thinking of possibly having it where it could just be an @ symbol for some people, like, in making this somewhat modifiable, so it's not just, just a triangle. But this is largely taken from, like, I want to say, like, Dungeon Hack. So if you look at, like, the Dungeon Hack map, or even, like Legends of Grimrock and stuff, usually they tend to have a more simplified map, and that's kind of where I was going from originally. But I think I want to have, like, the little character as an option as well.
I can hear the sound effects. Like, I can hear the birds tweeting and the torches flickering and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean there's sound effects for the most part for most of the items that have it. I'm still working on making ones for the monsters and stuff at this point. Wow, that is annoying.
What is?
No, you can't hear it, but someone keeps ringing our bell.
Oh, I could not even hear that.
Hopefully they stop. Sorry, we got people ringing our bell because they think we're the management office or something,
we're
and
not
so when
gonna
they get
answer the
deliveries,
door
they bother us.
midnight.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of see if I can show you where this thing is. So I just want to show you going down like one level so you can kind of see that. Oops.
That's impassable.
Of course, it's like lucky me, I happen to get the one map where like everything is hard to find.
Oh, Cloud Eyes adds, the lighting and shadows are extremely high quality. And Space asks, is that WASD controls?
Yes. So I'm using WSD controls, but you'll be able to use cursor keys as well.
Yeah, they are not getting in. We have no business with anyone who's coming to our house at midnight.
So, oh, here's the door. Okay.
You
So-
defeated the snake.
Yeah. So this is basically like what it looks like when you go down. So it's going to take a second, and then it just kind of shows this little frame.
I love
And-
that. That's like the old-timey movies.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. I wanted some kind of interstitial when you cross the floor boundary and provide like a little bit of a hint. But if you notice now we are
Should
underground.
I go turn that down at least?
Yeah, maybe you could do that.
I don't think I want to turn it off because we'll forget it. And then I can at least lower it down.
Yeah, maybe. Sorry about that. We're just trying to deal with this right now. Did you get it?
Okay, well, it's someone else got the door, so it's just still ringing.
Oh, okay, whatever.
So-
That's fine.
Anyway, sorry about that, folks. Okay.
I'm not sure. Do you recommend a particular game style for baddies? Like, can you kill easier in one mode or another?
Oh, as far as like perspective, like
Do you mean like, map mode versus like the 3D mode? Because I tried to make them as functionally the same in terms of how it works. But hopefully that makes sense.
like you don't have a stronger attack if you look at it overhead versus.
Oh yeah,
first
no,
person.
yeah. An attack here is the same as an attack here. There's functionally no difference. I'm trying to make them kind of one-to-one, so there shouldn't really be any difference, like attacks versus in maps versus like 3D view or anything like that.
I just love how the cat like bobs behind you and follows you around. Now, could the pet get lost? Like if you stick.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
if it gets stuck behind a wall or
Oh
something.
no, it's even worse than that because they can actually fall down trapdoors. So that actually happened to me once, where I had my companion and I was walking along and my companion just like walked right into a trapdoor and fell into the next room, or into the next level. So things like that can happen.
But part of the challenge.
But part of the challenge, right? But the thing is the way I have it right now, and I don't know if I'll keep it, but for now, when you change levels, it basically rallies all of your companions. So if you just cannot find your companions, they just got lost on the level somewhere, and like you're going to run out of food or something like that, just go to the next level. Your companions will sort of follow you down, and then you'll have all your companions again. Eventually, I'm going to be working towards using like A star, just to ensure that it always knows or has a path to you. But right now, it's basically just doing like a beeline check for like, what's the closest space heading in your direction. So it can still get stuck behind walls sometimes right now, but it won't be like that forever, hopefully.
Okay. Purple Tentacle says that's a neat idea. Welcome, Night Owl Crafter.
So the other thing I want to show off before I exit this demo is so this is the sort of character screen with the inventory, and I just kind of wanted to show you. You know, you can take off. You know, like all of this stuff is basically customizable. So like if you notice now I have a bow, I can wear the leather armor. You know, and my idea is that, you know, like right now it's mostly focused on like rogue type items and armor and stuff like that, but I want to eventually add things like dresses and other types of clothes, like maybe even a suit or something, you know, just like, because especially like when you get into like the modern levels or the future levels, like, you know, you would expect to see spacesuits, not leather armor, right? Like if you're in space. So a lot of the items and stuff will be tailored for the different worlds for now, but right now it's mostly focused on rogue. But you can still, as you can notice, that like the paper doll works, and you can do things. Let's see. Can you wear armor and have it toggleable on and off if you want it visible? Yeah. So I guess to future-proof visuals. I don't have that feature, but I was considering it specifically for the helmet. I know some MMOs, for example, allow you to toggle the helmet on and off, so even though you have the helmet on, you can visually like hide it or something. I was considering something like that, but I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I mean, and to answer Space Skeleton, yeah, a lot of the armor and stuff will still probably be available in space, but I wanted to include like items that were more, you know, like they're more tailored for like that style and that history or something like that. But I'm still playing with it. For now, all of these items are available on every level. But you know, I would kind of like to have it a little bit more tailored, I think, for some of the levels, but we'll see.
And Dr. Cook says, will there be a Mac OS port?
Oh yeah, actually I'm developing this on Mac, so
Yeah.
it's native to Mac more or less at this
Yeah.
point. So yeah, so like I'd mentioned I think a little earlier, and it's also on the Kickstarter. Basically going to be planning to support Windows and Mac, as well as iOS and Android, pretty much straight off the bat. And then hopefully, if we get enough sales, we'll also add it to like Switch, PlayStation stores, and some other ones. It's just that requires additional licensing from Unity to do.
Can it run Dooms? Asks Thanatos.
No. but it's okay.
Sort of?
But sort of. Okay, so the reason I say sort of is because even though technically it doesn't run Doom, I was actually possibly thinking of having a real-time mode. I know some people prefer like more action kind of roguelikes, and actually I was looking into it, and it would actually be fairly simple. So like the way the animations for the monsters work when they move is that they're always basically approaching a position. And so right now it's artificially deciding that the turn doesn't activate unless I make a decision, but I could change it, for example, to make it real time, where the monsters move at a very set rate. So like if they're moving very fast, you would see them moving around fast, but if they were slow, they would move slow, and you would be able to move relative to that, like kind of like you would like in an FPS. But those are some future ideas. It's not really like the focus of it right now, but it's something I'm actually considering, because I do really like Doom, and I do respect like John Romero and John Carmack for what they did, especially id Software for the performance. Like if you notice, like it's pretty fast. I spent a lot of time optimizing it because I do want it to be a very smooth experience. So short answer is not really, but long answer is in the future it might be possible to replicate something similar to Doom, but with rogue levels.
So Oz90's Kid, who's been one of our biggest cheerleaders since the very beginning, says, congrats on hitting the Kickstarter goal, you guys. Exciting times. Yes, we hit the Kickstarter goal, what is it, 4 days ago now? And we are really hoping to meet some of the stretch goals, because there's a whole bunch of really exciting features that I want her to build into the game. So that's why I'm, her champion here. So I'm like, yes, please back our game, because it's going to be so cool. And like myself, I'm in charge of some of the physical goodies and like the more tangible side of things, so I really want to make some extra cool goodies for everybody. And Space asks, is someone beating at your door? No, that's the cat. She's scratching on a box. And we have another ad break, so I'm gonna do another ads. So we're gonna just take another moment while the ads are playing, just to chill for a bit. But okay, yeah, Cloudos took care of shouting out Oz90's Kid. So yeah, we'll wait here for one more minute, and then you can continue presentation. I mean, you've been talking for an hour already. We're doing really well.
I got a lot of questions. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a lot more engagement than I was actually expecting. I don't know. Like I used to do these talks when I work in tech, and so I'm used to just like people just like being quiet while I talk, and then like you get all the questions at the end, and you have this like formal question and answer period, and it's just like this is far more
Twitch
interactive.
is a lot of
I
back
think,
and
yeah.
forth. That's the Twitch format. Like that's part of what draws people to Twitch is you get that instant feedback almost. So it's not just like a formal speaker going yes blah 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 and then say any questions. And then just like
I'll have to remember that the next time I have to do a tech talk or something like that. Just feel like it's like, and yeah, it's blah 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 blah.
So yeah, Twitch you gotta keep, like, as a Twitch streamer, I've learned that I have to keep on top of like so many different things. I have several windows up, the music, the game, everything that's going on, the little marquee at the bottom, the chat alerts. I gotta keep my ears out for like the alerts to let me know I got rated or followed, and then immediately react to that. So that's what makes Twitch, so appealing to so many people, is they do offer instant feedback. So it's kind of a different experience.
Yeah, taking a little getting used to, sort of interactive way of doing things. But
all right, so our ad break is over. Hey, Cat and Candy, welcome in. Where can I find the Kickstarter? The link to our Kickstarter is pinned at the very top of the chat. And if it's not showing up for you for some reason, which sometimes Twitch is broken. Oh yeah, Space Skeleton, got it. Yeah, so that link right there. We have a number of digital as well as physical rewards that I think people will appreciate. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff. I'm gonna get. Let's see. Well, you know what I have. Well, you know what? I'll show off the physical stuff later. I think once you're done with this part, because you're still showing off gameplay.
Yeah, I actually don't think there's too much more gameplay to show off. I mean, one thing that I was kind of hoping was that I would encounter some kind of trap or something. I don't know if I actually did that.
No, you haven't found a trap yet.
Yeah, it just shows a card or something like that a trap has appeared. There's also like trap doors, like you accidentally trigger one, you fall through the next level, things like that. And,
you just show off the office levels.
Oh yeah. Let me show you off some of the.
Because there's like a modern day level too, which I don't think most roguelikes have.
Right, and that's part of the reason, because I feel like that format really could tell any kind of story. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't have to be limited. Like I mean, I remember there was even a gold box type game that was set in space or something. Like there was like some space ace type thing. Yeah. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember playing it, and I remember thinking it was really kind of neat.
Space Skeleton asks, what does the comedy tragedy symbol indicate?
So right now, when I first built this game, I actually had two different panels, which was on the left there would be a character panel, on the right was going to be an inventory panel. And the way I'd originally envisioned it is that, as you're walking, you could interact with it, and it would be a little bit like a PDA or something. But as I kind of worked through it, I realized it wasn't really working as well at that, and I realized that since you can change your armor in the inventory panel, but you wouldn't have the character, you wouldn't necessarily see your paper at all changing. And so I was thinking, you know what, maybe we should just have just the one screen. And I looked at a lot of different like RPG type games, and almost all of them have some kind of interstitial screen for like character progression or character stats and like inventory. So I just said, okay, I'll just do it this way. And part of the reason for that also is because I wanted to free up a space for talking, because I wanted to have dialogue. So I'm in the process right now of working on like a dialogue engine also, so that, when you encounter an NPC, like some NPCs will be, you can talk to them. So they wouldn't just show the bark like with some random text and stuff, is you would actually be able to interact with them like a real character, like an NPC. So that's the hope. And then, as you're interacting with these random characters you encounter, it sort of deepens the story and you get to learn more about it. So if anyone's ever played Out There, think kind of in that vein. So like as you go along, you're kind of stumbling across, sort of like a hidden language, or like in that case, but in my case it'd be like, hidden information nuggets or little bits of facts about the world, things that would kind of give it a little bit more color than just like, just your straight roguelike.
I figure it's like a choose your own adventure book, whereas you read through several different paths. Like you won't encounter all of this information on one run through, but you'll encounter like more bits and pieces of the mystery as you do several different playthroughs.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's like different continuities, but you as a player can piece together all the clues.
Yeah, and the idea is that, it gives replayability value, because every time you play through it, you're going to learn something new about the world that you didn't before, because you just encountered a new character you've never seen before. And the idea is I hope to have populate this world with hundreds of random characters that you would only ever see a small segment of, that you would encounter on any given run. And then the idea is like she was saying, like the more you play it, the more you start to uncover the story, and the more you get to kind of deepens your understanding of the world.
Mysteries abound. Okay, so show off this modern day office.
So let's show the office. I'm actually going to turn off the fog of war just so you can kind of see a little bit better.
Hey, Trash Cat.
Okay, so, I mean, still has fountains and stuff, but if you notice, I might have to search.
There's no obvious exit.
Oops.
That's out.
Yeah,
Oh,
there
there
it
it
is.
is.
So
There's
there's
still a king.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, it's going to be more themed than this. Like right now, it's pretty much the same on every single world, but I'm going to tailor it to each of the different worlds. But yeah, so this is like the office level, and this one's a little bit different because unlike the other levels that go down, this one goes up. So it has like a tower level. So essentially, instead of staircases, you're looking for an elevator, and the elevator goes up one level at a time, and then it's the same as like any other thing, but instead of a dungeon that goes down, it's the dungeon that goes up. And that's kind of how I conceive sort of the modern world, since we build towers and we're always like trying to get up to the top level. So same kind of deal here. So let me just show you just a few other worlds just so you can kind of get an idea of kind of some of the different things you can, or places you can visit. So I'm going to show caves, I think, next, because I think those were kind of neat.
Hey, Super Mario Yoshi, welcome. And Space asks, will there be secrets?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, we're not going to be able to tell you everything in one session anyway, so there will definitely be secrets to uncover.
But just wanted to show you, like, the different kind of varied levels you can have. So, like, this is a cave level. I actually am going to be extending this, so I don't know how many of you have heard of Brogue.
Brogue with a B,
yeah. Yeah, like Rogue, but with a B, Brogue. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it has maps that are similar to this, but they're more complicated. So they have like rooms, bridges, like water, canyons, things like that are like what I want to build towards. So like this level is very kind of just your basic cellular automata level, but I want to be able to add, and I have a way for doing this already, but I just need to implement it. But like using this method for creating like rivers and lakes that overlap this. So like for example, there could be like a little bit of a body of water here, or even like maybe a pit here where you could fall in, or have rooms with like corridors that are inside of the cavern. There's a lot of different ways that I can create more interesting and varied levels than just like a straight maze or a straight cave or a straight rogue map. I really liked Brogue because it kind of combines all of them into like this sort of hybrid map that has all these different kind of varied environments in every level. And so that's kind of what I'm building towards. So like right now, these are very straightforward maps, but eventually they'll be more complicated and have, like more complex features in them and stuff, including stalactites, stalagmites. Like I'm planning on having a cave with taller roofs so they can have like stalactites that could fall on you, for example. But maybe they only do it every so often, so you don't really notice it. So there's a lot of things that I want to add and a lot of things I want to tweak. But for now, essentially, most of the items that you're going to encounter, in the base game that I have developed already, is going to be mostly focused on rogue items. My original idea was that the game was going to be big, but as a subset, you would be able to play like rogue inside of it. So like even though it's not really rogue, rogue can be a subset inside of my game, because my game will have more than just rogue, but as a base it'll have rogue as well. So I'm not really sure like how much more there is to show off at this point. I'm hoping once I have some more dialogue stuff written, I can show that off. But there's a lot of stuff that's in development, and I just really want to stress, it's like, if you like what you see and you want us to keep developing, just keep helping us out, and we'll keep working on this so long as we keep get sales generating, and we still have we're still generating interest. We hope to keep building it out and listening to community members, and if there's anything that you're just like, oh, I would kill to see this in a game, like let's talk about it. Like,
yeah.
I am a professional engineer. I can literally do almost anything. And I really want to build a game that is fun and that, I think appeals to wide, audience group, and, that lets people tell their own stories in their own way. And I feel like this framework allows, people and myself, to be able to tell those stories. So my hope is to keep building on it. And so long as we keep, get money coming in,
it helps. Yes.
We'll keep working on it, and even if I don't, and I have to get a job again and go back to the world of tech, so be it. But my plan is that I'll still be working on this, for as long as I'm still around. Like I really want to do something cool with this, and I really want to keep building on it.
It's already something cool.
But I think it could be so much better, and I have so many ideas that I want to be able to build on. So I just want to highlight this is just the beginning. But I did want to give you kind of a taste of where we're at right now, and like kind of what the state of the game is at the moment, and kind of like where we're hoping to take it into the future. So hopefully I was able to answer most of your questions in that. But I think this pretty much is everything that I wanted to show in the demo. If there's any other questions, I can hang around for a few more minutes, and then maybe we can answer it. But might drop off in a little bit just because I'm starting to get a little tired.
It's a little late for you, I know.
Yeah,
so
I'm usually in bed by now, so she takes over the night shift. So.
Yeah, so like I appreciate your spending the time with us to just show off your game to my audience.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me here to talk about it. So.
Okay, so we do have several questions here. Space asks, will there be a playable demo?
That's not something I initially considered, but just to give you an idea about how I'm thinking about rollout, and we kind of talked about this a little bit in the Kickstarter, but the idea is right now the game will be released to Steam early release, I want to say end of year sometime, like probably before the holidays. But we'll have to see. Like a lot of it just kind of depends on how the Kickstarter plays out. Like if we don't meet a lot of stretch goals, it might be earlier. If we ended up like we get a spike at the end for some reason, and there's a lot of interest in like a lot of these stretch goals, and maybe
tell your friends.
Then maybe it gets pushed out a little bit longer. But the idea is that there will be an early release copy available to early backers later this year. I don't know how widespread it'll be beyond that because it'll essentially be in beta testing at that point. But I'll think about it. Like, I mean, there's a number of different ways that you can handle demos. Like there's shareware, there's like the shareware model. There's like, there's ways of doing like, like an ad version, like on iOS or Android, for example, where you have like a free version or maybe a limited version. Then you have to do an in-app purchase to get the full version. So we're thinking of some ideas about that, but generally speaking, that's kind of what we're thinking right now.
Dr. Cook asked a question that I don't know if you want to get into detail on, but has a meta question. Any advice on pursuing a passion project like this while working a 9-to-5 job?
That one's hard.
Because,
it takes
a lot of time.
Because I tried doing that. Like I had a 9-to-5 job working tech before I started work on this. And it's not to say that I wasn't able to work on things in the process, but to really be able to focus and like get this out the door as quickly as I did, I don't know if I'd be able to do that with a 9-to-5 job. I think with some careful planning and working on weekends, I think you might be able to get, maybe with a little bit more time, like, as long as your time frame is like maybe a couple years. Just because obviously you're not going to be able to devote to it full time. Like I spent a lot of time working on this in my daytime because I do have the free time, but I know that's not something that a lot of people are able to do. And I'm barely able to do it as it is too, because I'm also kind of worried about money right now. but you know, we're doing what we can.
Yeah. Gabriel Nightshade had expressed concern about requiring Steam, but Steam isn't absolutely required, is it?
No, but I did want to kind of talk about that a little bit, because I guess I'm trying to understand, like, for those people that don't like Steam, like, what alternative platforms or distribution methods do you use?
Oh, Good Old Games in Android. So
Good Old Games. Okay.
yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah. So I'm actually thinking of releasing on Good Old Games. I'm looking into that as well. Like, I actually want to distribute it on as many platforms as I can. But iOS and Android will definitely be available.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Valiant Cheese says itch, and Valiant Cheese was also asking about the Linux version earlier.
Yeah, Linux I'd have to look into, because unfortunately, like, I mean, unless they just release the binary, I don't know of a Linux store that would have let me do it for sale, unless I did it as a download from, like, a website with our own... I don't know, like, it's something I'd have to look into. I'm not as familiar with distribution on Linux.
So you can make it, it's just distributing it.
Yeah. I mean making it is not a problem. I want to be clear about that. Like, making a Linux build is actually trivial. Like, I'm doing this in Unity. Unity allows cross-platform development. It's more just like the distribution channel for Linux I'm not as familiar with.
Valiant Cheese points out itch, GOG, and Steam do let you ship Linux.
Oh, they do.
So
Okay, yeah. I mean, we were planning on releasing it on Steam for Linux, but I did not know that GOG supported that. I thought when I looked into GOG, it said it did not support Linux officially.
Maybe they do now.
Yeah, maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with itch.
We'll figure it out.
We'll look into that, though. I know there's a lot of platforms out there. I'm not familiar with all of them. Like I said, I'm not familiar with itch, but yeah, the plan is eventually we'll probably have it on GOG and a number of different platforms.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if there's any other questions. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, some of these we answered already.
I should probably answer the music one. Maybe I should answer that one since I was asked way at the beginning.
Yeah, there's...
Well, okay. Well, while she's looking for that, I'm just going to address that music question that came up, like, way at the beginning.
Yeah, like, some of these we did get to already, but that's okay. We could just review it.
Yeah, it's fine. But let me address the music. So, just to put people a little, you know, maybe a little bit more relaxed about the music thing. You know, I'm personally friends with a number of musicians that have offered to make music for this game. So, I mean, it's like, if I run out of time and cannot do it myself, or, you know, beyond just like maybe a main theme or something like that, I do have people that I can rely on for that. But the hope is that eventually I'd be working on mostly the music myself as well, along with the art. I mean, I am a musician. Actually have music training in my background as well. I was originally a music major, piano performance. So if you wanted to know something about the music, it's likely going to be either piano based for the non-chiptune version, or partially orchestral. But I want to have people have the option for the kind of music that they want to listen to. Like, so if they want to listen to like a chiptune variety, or song or something like that, like a more retro style, like, especially since I have, so let me see if I can do this. So, like, for example, since this has things like scanline filters, I wanted to have chiptune music as an option, because, you know, like for retro games and stuff like that, you know, I feel like it would go well with the kind of scanline view, because it reminds me a little bit of like Super Nintendo games. But I wanted to have both. Like, I do love orchestral scores. I really would like to sort of try my hand at it. It's just I don't have any music prepared right now, but my hope is that I'll be able to have like maybe a short like video or something, or not video, but a short animation with some music for the intro that I'm going to be working on possibly for next week or the week after. So we can keep you guys posted on that. So if you would like to hear some of that music, hopefully I'll be able to share some of that with you shortly, but I don't have any prepared today.
It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah, it's coming. Just, it's a work in progress, and I'm very music is a very personal thing for me, so I want to make sure I get it right. So
yeah, so Valiant Cheese has worked on games shipping with Linux builds, so if you have any questions, you can ask Valiant Cheese.
Oh, yeah. No,
and I've watched Valiant Cheese. They're also developers, so I'm
perfect.
I'm
Definitely, if I have any questions, I'll reach out. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Gabriel Knight Shadow, like the option to toggle between chiptune and orchestral. Do you prefer the orchestra? Thanatos might suggest someone for a raid, so I'm not sure what we're going to do about that.
What?
For a raid. As far as like when we end the stream.
Oh.
So I wasn't sure if I was gonna like go back and do my sewing stream after this, my normal sewing show, or just call it, but I don't know.
It's up to you.
I mean, it's It's 12:30. Which is like super early for me. However, this is also.
I mean, it's great. I'm glad you guys had so many questions. I wasn't really sure what I would be walking into. So
yeah. So I will say
it's been a good experience. I think, yeah.
Definitely. I will say maybe. That would be my personal decision about what to do here. But let's look at these questions. Space. It's 5:30 a.m. for Space Skeleton. All right, so yeah, Highbury suggested the question, "What's Paladin?" And I think somebody said, like, "Will somebody in the game know what Paladins are?" I mean, that's one of the Easter eggs potentially.
I will say that Lord British's character will address it on the game.
Yes, we will have a Lord British character,
and he will address the question, "What is a Paladin?"
Yes,
just for you.
Yeah. So we did already answer. Can you pet cats in the game? You can pet your pet. Yeah. What controls does this game use? Keyboard and controller.
Keyboard controller, touchscreen controls for now.
Yeah.
Maybe screen reader support in a future build, but not yet.
Let's see. Why did some of the placements have Onks next to them? You did answer that.
Yes.
Escaped with the amulet, like won the game essentially.
Right.
Let's see. Last happy question. Can your pet get attacked by creatures or harmed in the game?
Yes.
So yeah.
but the way it works right now is if your companion is with you, and my hope is that I'll be able to keep the companion pretty close to you. So, right now they can drift off, but they won't be able to do that eventually. But the idea is that whichever is the strongest is the one that gets attacked. So, like, for example, if you're super weak and your pet is super strong, and you encounter a monster, the monster will attack your pet, not you. However, if for some reason your hit points fall too low, then it'll start attacking. Or if the pet's hit points fall too low, you'll start getting attacked. So the idea is it distributes the health damage around. So like your pet's not just gonna run in and then just get slaughtered like in like I want to say Fallout. That happened to me all the time.
Yeah.
Where dead meat literally would just like run in and get killed like in 3 seconds. My hope is to prevent things like that from happening. So. We'll see, but the idea is that the monsters will tend to want to attack the stronger, not the weaker. So if you're weak and your pet is strong, your pet will defend you, and things like that. So.
Let's see. Can you make your pet your nemesis? And they were kind of bantering about that. So, I don't know if that was meant as like a really serious question.
You can have a nemesis that looks like your pet, but you can't literally have your pet be a nemesis.
Right, like otherwise you would spawn right next to your pet and then kill him and win right away.
So there's not really going to be a possibility for that, but yeah.
Does the Mars level have ruby slippers? Also, not so serious of a question.
It has space snakes, so if you want to have ruby slippers, I think that's probably doable.
Potentially, yes, have ruby slippers. Okay, let's see. If you can edit maps/levels, can you save them with different names in that selection screen? I don't see why not.
Wait, say that again?
That one.
If you can edit, I was gonna say that one. Yes. Yeah. So that will be eventually the idea. Is that when you edit the levels and stuff like that, you'll be able to have your own like in that list. But eventually, like I said, it may not just be a list like that, but who knows? Like for now, yes, it'll show up in the list.
Let's see. This is something we addressed too. Do you recommend a particular game style for baddies? Like, can you kill easier in one mode or another? For combat purposes, it won't matter whether you're top down or first person.
Yeah, that won't change anything. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to show, which was what was it? There was something that I was going to show. What was it now?
Oh. I
just completely forgot.
Oh.
Because we were just talking about it too.
I know.
And there was what was it? This is gonna drive me crazy. Well, let's just look through the other questions.
Okay.
If I think of it, I'll say something.
Let's see. Will this be available on Portmaster for Linux handhelds? I don't know what that is. Have you heard of Portmaster? Okay.
I don't
Something
know.
to look into.
Yeah. If someone has any experience with that, maybe. I might need help. Like if you want it distributed on some platform that I'm not familiar with, you'll probably need to walk me through or help me with it because I don't know if I'm gonna go that far out of my way to distribute to every platform, but I will be trying to hit at least all the major ones.
Let's see. Does the comedy tragedy symbol indicate? I think you got that already as well.
Yeah, the dialogue option.
Oh, and Gabriel's heading out. Thank you so much for joining us, Gabriel Night Shadow. It was a pleasure having you here for the first time tonight. I hope you can make it back for my regular show sometime as well. Alright, so Oz90's Kid, Google translated the titles. The French translation the intentional, or is there another meaning, or is that an Easter egg? So
what's the question exactly?
Yeah, and then he did add in the chat as well, is that an Easter egg, or at least, you know, a spoiler in the game? I think he asked, will that be a spoiler? So will, like, answering that be part of the spoiler, or do you want to talk about the
name?
The meaning behind the game's title, yeah.
Oh, okay, so that one's going to be a little interesting. So the name is a play on a French movie from the 90s called Ma Vie en Rose. And it's kind of a play on that. And the reason, because that was like My Life in Pink. And
that refers back to the original song, doesn't it?
Well, there's that song, but I'm talking about the movie specifically,
right.
which is based. But yeah, there is a song that's like that too. I think Louis Armstrong or something.
Right, and I think the title of the movie is based on the song.
Yeah, it's something like that. But it's supposed to be like, you know, like My Life in Pink or something like that. And like this is like My Life in Rogue. So, because I kind of feel like, because I mean, part of the impetus for this is just kind of feeling like, you know, like throughout most of my life, I feel like I've been under I don't know, maybe not like assault, but I just kind of feel like I've always been kind of struggling with, like, I don't know, my life just felt like a roguelike, for lack of a better word, you know. So it's kind of a play on those two concepts. Like, it's kind of a play on the name, but then also a play on the fact that my life kind of feels a little bit like a roguelike sometimes, which is kind of the inspiration for the game itself being a roguelike. So.
Okay. Will there be secrets? I mean, you kind of answered that too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like
Lots of things to find.
Like one of the things you're gonna encounter in like one of the dungeons is you're gonna find like these diary pages, that won't be in any particular order, but you can assemble them and then try to make a coherent story about what happened to this person.
That's gonna be a cool puzzle.
So there's gonna be a bunch of things like that, and then there'll be like, you know, random NPCs that hopefully will like help deepen the story, and hopefully through each of the different playthroughs you get to learn a little bit more about the world.
Can I make a special alphabet for you?
Special.
I like the runic alphabet, or like I mean, not that exactly, but.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because Out There kind of had a similar thing with the alien language. It could be like, you know, it was written in code or something, and you have to decipher the code, because that's kind of one of the things that you have to do in Out There is decipher the alien. Code? I know you like codes. I don't know. Maybe
I love you.
We'll talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, playable demo you talked about. Will Lord British's knowledge of the land be great?
He's not entirely sure.
All right, I think we got some other chats here. Let me see what else is going on. Let's see. Dog meat needed better combat. Gabriel's going to bed. Helgraf says, my sneaky life, like I guess sneaking around like a rogue. Suggestion for the pets being a nemesis. Just make either slight color variation or invert the color of the nemesis pet would be a mimic.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll think about it.
All right.
I mean, the idea with the nemesis is that it can be anything. You know, like, I was literally, you know, even thinking about, you know, demonic chihuahuas or something. You know, if you want to really, you know, it's like, I don't know, this chihuahua has really bothered you in the neighborhood or something.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have anything else you want to show off, or?
I did, and I cannot remember what it is now, and that's the problem. But yeah, like, I mean, pretty much most of the game as it is right now, just at least if you think about just like base rogue game, is more or less functioning with this engine. I mean, you can go down to level 26, you can defeat the Wizard of Yendor, you can get the amulet and return to the game and beat the game. So all of that is working. The one thing that we're just hoping to do is just keep building more content out. You know, adding things like dialogue. Oh, now I remember what it is.
Okay.
I wanted to show you guys 2 features that I'm currently working on right now, just so you can kind of see the direction that we're going in. Except I can't do it because this is not the Unity build. I don't have the editor controls, so I'm sorry. Actually, I can't show it. I was actually considering showing the map editor and stuff, which I have in my build over there. But this is a custom build that we did just for the stream, and it doesn't have that in there. So I'm sorry. I won't
make a video of it. I'll add it to YouTube later. Or...
Well, we're gonna do, I think, another big update. Like 7 days out. So once we're like exactly 1 week out, I think we are
1 week out.
Well, I know, but we're gonna do another update. I think you said you were going to put out an update in the next day or so.
Yeah, I can.
yeah, that'll have some updates and stuff with things like that in it. So
Oh, Joe Doltmans has been lurking. Thanks for all the info. Pretty exciting. Joe Doltman is cool. He does crossword puzzles and stuff. So
cool.
yeah. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? I think we covered a lot of territory tonight, and this has been really fun. I'm having a good time here.
Yeah, and hopefully if we do another one of these, like maybe a couple months down the road, I can show off even more features and new things and stuff that I'm working on, and hopefully we'll make it even more interesting and fun to play.
Yeah. Oh, just in time for an ad break. So let me put that ad message here. All right. So okay, and we're back. No, we were just discussing some things here. So yeah, thank you all for showing up for this special presentation. This has been a blast. So this is Fiona, the real mastermind behind Mavi and Rogue. If the game intrigues you, please do check out the Kickstarter link at the top of the chat. Thank you for being here, Free Needles. Thank you, Oz90s Kid. And Valiant Cheese, have a good night. So if you want to say any parting words, we'll do that, and then I'm going to put on the BRB screen for a little while, and then I'll go back to cross-stitching, my normal, regularly scheduled cranberry. So anyway, let's put on the full screen us here for a moment. So thank you very much. This has been really enlightening. I feel like I learned a lot too, and you got to show off your game and your genius, which really is undeniable at this point, as far as creating this fantastic game pretty much from the ground up, putting all these neat ideas into it, taking feedback from the community as far as what makes the game fun to play, as well as putting your own heart into it and telling the story you want to tell. So really appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for joining. This has been great. It's been some really great questions. I'm glad I was able to do this. And hopefully we'll be able to do it again sometime, like when we have some more stuff to show. So.
Oh, and DC Bueller is here. He's been one of our cheerleaders since the very beginning as well. And Dr. Cook says, thanks, Fiona. Nice to meet you. So.
Nice meeting you too.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I will be back with your regularly scheduled show in a little bit. Give me probably like 20 minutes. It'll be a little bit, but I will be back with some cross-stitching, and then, we can gab a bit more for our regular show a little bit later. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night for now. We'll see you all a little bit later.